So at Fox News Alert, we're learning chilling new details about Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin and what he did immediately following the shooting.
So it comes as officials revealed the suspect is refusing to cooperate with the authorities.
Garrett Tenney joins us live outside of the Utah County Jail with more. Good morning, Garrett.
Good morning, y'all. We have learned that Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin is being held in a separate unit here at the Utah County Jail and is under special watch to make sure he doesn't hurt himself or others before his first court appearance tomorrow. And as you mentioned, the suspect is not cooperating with the investigation. But Utah Governor Spencer Cox says other people close to the suspect are cooperating.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. His roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. He is cooperating with authorities as well.
Investigators are also trying to put together a timeline for the suspect's radicalization, and officials say it appears to have happened over the last few years as the suspect was spending an increasing amount of time in the, quote, dark places of the internet. The New York Times reports that after the FBI released surveillance images of the suspect, an acquaintance tagged him in an online group chat, and the suspect allegedly replied that his doppelganger was trying to, quote, get me in trouble. And then when another person joked that they should turn him in for the reward, the suspect allegedly responded, only if I get a cut. We also have this new surveillance video obtained by TMZ showing the alleged assassin walking to UVU's campus the morning of the shooting. This was about 4 hours beforehand, wearing a maroon shirt and light-colored shorts, and that he later changed out of before returning to campus shortly before the shooting, wearing those dark clothes we saw in those surveillance photos. The suspect will be appearing virtually for his first court appearance tomorrow. And we are told that after those charges are filed tomorrow, before that court appearance, we are going to learn a lot more about this investigation and what they are learning so far. Back to y'all.
All right, Garrett, thanks so much. The one thing that comes to mind, too, is that you initially thought that maybe he was cooperating because they got information on his dad convinced him to go. We heard all that, but he's not. So I guess we're going to have to look at, and we'll find out from Kash Patel, we're going to have to look at his online chats, his online presence, what was going on. And then we have relatives of his partner who was transitioning. That person speaking out that he got radicalized. And then you have to look at possibly how they have made a statement that they're looking to widen the investigation and to probe whether pro-trans online groups and others connected with Robinson knew in advance about the plan to kill him. But the mindset of a guy that could assassinate someone, we assume for the first time in his life, and go online and engage and be lighthearted and just mock the fact that he looks like the killer, even though he is. That mindset, I just can't understand.
Well, I know if you go on social media and you start watching some videos about Charlie Kirk and some of the past comments and some of his speeches, another one will pop up and another one will pop up. So I spent a lot of the weekend going through a lot of what he has said in the past. I think we've learned a lot more about him, even in death, than we did in life. And then we were all craving some sort of a spiritual component yesterday. And Sean and I went to church, or we watched church online, a church we love in South Carolina. And they honored Charlie Kirk. The pastor said, could everyone please kneel and let's say a prayer for Charlie. He also remembered the family of the girl who was slain on the train in North Carolina. And there's something called, Lawrence, the Charlie effect. It's Christians online are revealing that they've been attending Mass to celebrate his fearless pursuit of Jesus. And one person wrote online, my son asked if I wanted to go to church with him on Sunday. He's not a church goer. We're going to Saturday Mass, the Charlie Kirk effect. Another one said, the Catholic Church where I attended Mass today, remember Charlie Kirk in his priest's homily. Masses are being offered across the country for the repose of his soul.
So that's important for two reasons, Ainsley. I think what's happening in remembering Charlie shows potential other assassins that if you thought you were going to silence a movement, the opposite is happening. But I think as it goes to the investigation, to Brian's point, there's a couple of things that still need to be solved there in the sense of, in the chat room, okay, they say these messages, and we're going to ask the director that's going to be coming up on our show in the next hour, FBI director, this happened after the assassin. Okay, so obviously there was a chat going on before. Did he discuss any of his plans before? He felt comfortable bragging that he looked like the assassin when he really was the assassin. So there had to be some type of conversation. We also know that relatives said that he was very vocal about him hating Charlie Kirk. So he's been talking with his family members about it as well. Also, the narrative a couple days ago with this guy was MAGA. He obviously was not MAGA, and we found out that his lover is transitioning. It wasn't just a roommate. It was someone that he was intimate with. All of that impacts this investigation.
And he's cooperating.
He's cooperating.
We understand that, too, I guess, to a degree. And we'll see. I would say this. The family conservative. He evidently wasn't. They said that a couple of his coworkers said, yeah, he was very quiet. And in fact, one time we were having a conversation about politics, and most of us at work at the electrician, where he was an electrician, he left in 2023, started talking about politics. He went into the laundry room and just sat there by himself, isolated. He couldn't handle the conservative talk. So, I mean, you begin to see that. They said the only other time he showed interest is when you talked about guns.
Well, we've all been wondering who's going to take over for Charlie Kirk for his show. And J.D. Vance put on X, tomorrow, he wrote this yesterday, tomorrow I will have the honor of hosting the Charlie Kirk Show. Please join me as I pay tribute to my friend, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So he'll be hosting the show today.
So one of Charlie Kirk's business partners, everyone thinks, when you're honoring a man, you think it's just about Charlie, but I think what you're learning is that it's bigger than him because of the young people that he represented. Right. So his business partner and executive producer shared this news yesterday. He said, I wanted to share a praise report from TPUSA. The organization has received over 32,000 inquiries in the last 48 hours on how to start new chapters. To put that into perspective, TPUSA currently has 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school chapters with a presence of 35,000 total. Charlie's vision to have a Club America chapter, our high school brand, and every high school in America, around 23,000, will come true much more faster than could have ever possibly imagined. Truly incredible. And that's his mission. That's what he wanted.
Andrew was very impressive with Laura Ingraham. It's the first time I've seen him. But you just know, to get these events going like the way they're going, there has to be an organizer, a Tim Cook type person behind the scenes with a Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was the vision. Tim Cook was the implementer. And Steve Jobs dies. Tim Cook steps up and elevates other people. Maybe it could be something on a smaller scale like that. I also think that if people are, like, I look at a guy like Reince Priebus, who ran the RNC brilliantly. If there are organizationally minded people that could help in at this moment to set the tone, because this is the moment where people are open to what is Turning Point? Let me help out. I love this guy. I'm finding out about him for the first time. I just hope people on the outside could say, I'm going to use my expertise to help out. That could be your way of having a tribute.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with the younger generation and how they're carrying on his conservative activism. And I was so impressed with his wife over the weekend. I think everyone was. Yeah. It's what a lot of people were talking about this weekend. She had this emotional address to the nation, and it was her first public appearance after her husband was killed. Here's a clip of Erica Kirk.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever.
That knows Erica, she's a sweet person, and everybody loves her. She used to be Miss Arizona, as I said last week, and she's normally very calm, cool, collected. She has a Christian wear brand that she likes to sell and just share the gospel in that way. There's been some debate, who's gonna be the person to take over? I think she pretty much cemented it with her speech yesterday. I've never seen her with such just focus on the mission. And I think she's right. You're gonna be hearing from her. And she said during that speech that the Turning Point event that was planned, the tour, will continue. I mean, can you imagine after your husband was just assassinated and you're saying you're gonna continue the rest of the tour? The big Turning Point event, she said, is gonna continue. She's not resting at all.
I think that's what he would have wanted. That was his whole mission. And if you look at his social media accounts, my goodness, they have surged. Look, just comparing Instagram from September 9th to what it is today, almost doubled. Look at TikTok. It was 7.3, now it's 9.3. His YouTube, 3.8, now it's 4.7. And YouTube for Turning Point USA is now at 3.8.
I mean, that's going to be the impact. You got the numbers, you got the chapters, you have the social media presence that's going to make news every time something's posted.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.